Hello, hi everyone. Happy Friday. I hope that you've had a good week so far. And if you are in the States, then you have the long weekend this weekend. So hopefully you have some fun plans. And hopefully the weather is okay where you are. And, but thanks for joining me on a Friday. We're just going to have some fun. Hi, GHP. How's it going? I feel like I haven't seen people in a while, and it's only been a week, right? But this no Wednesday streaming is throwing me off. But it's okay. We'll have fun. We'll have a relaxing stream because today we're just gonna play with fountain pens, and I'm going to do my currently inked. And then we'll talk about notably inked. So the pens that I kind of had fun with this month and inked them up for specific reasons. Either I wanted to play with a nib or it was a new fountain pen, or I wanted to try a certain ink. Hi, Miss Marilyn. How are you doing? And Needle Girl. Hi. I have some time time to lurk while you're working. Well, thanks for joining. And happy lurking, and I hope work is going okay. It does feel like a minute, right, JHP? For sure, it does feel like it. I also haven't been able to join as many of the other streams as I usually do or that I want to because I've had a guest, a house guest. So some of you may know my mother-in-law was here for a few weeks. Visiting from New Zealand, and so it's been really good because my kids have had their grandma around and making memories and having fun and playing, and they're at an age where they will remember these times, which is really special. And so it's been really fun having grandma here for the girls, but also it throws routine out of whack and it throws us off a little bit. And she left yesterday, so that's why I'm here today. And I'm kind of getting back into routine, which is always nice. Like I'm sort of like a creature of habit. So I like, tracking things and having a routine that I can sort of, stick to. So yeah, if you're like that, then you'll understand how, having a house guest or just things a little bit different throws you off quite a bit. So you're getting ready to have an ultrasound for your arm. Oh, Miss Marilyn, I hope everything's okay. Good for the girls, but you survived. I know. I did survive. Thankfully, my mother-in-law is one of those people who also, she's very independent. So she likes, she likes having her space, and she likes to be outside, like going for walks and stuff like that. So I'm kind of lucky in that way that, she likes her space, I like my space, and, we sort of do our thing. So I did survive. Oh, yeah, it is like that, right? So, I hope you're doing okay too. And going into the summer, things are going to be, I hope that you sort of have something that you can fall back on, some sort of schedule and things like that. But also, it's kind of nice, right, to sort of do things out of the norm, to push yourself a little bit and, explore, have adventures, and do things that are a little bit different. Right? That are new and surprising and fun too. Because what else are we going to document in our journals, right? So now, I have a lot of pictures that I need to throw into my collage journal and just kind of document and memory keep these things because they are special times. So you're going to the Strawberry Festival. That sounds like so much fun. Yay, have fun and eat lots of strawberries. So, if you're joining me for the first time, or Karina just walks on in, kicks the door in. Karina, how are you? Yay, I'm so glad you were able to join. I noticed that you followed me, by the way, and I was like, Karina follows me on Twitch now. If you don't know, Karina loves to plan. Karina is, she's an amazing pen person, planner person. She lives a province over, so she's Canadian. But the only time that we actually meet up is at pen shows. And usually in the States, like. So I don't know what's going on there, but I'm so glad you're here. Yay, friend. Big entrance, yeah. You're multitasking while working. Oh, no. I can't wait for us to meet up at the PNW pen show. Yay, I can't wait. Especially, well, on the Friday at least, because I don't know if I'll be there for the whole weekend. But yay, I can't wait. So as I was saying, if this is your first time and you don't, you're wondering what my stream is all about or who I am, I'm Corolla on socials. I go by From Corolla, and I'm a stationery enthusiast. I love fountain pens. I love painting with fountain pen inks and watercolor, and I love sharing that process on YouTube, on socials, because I want to encourage people to use their fountain pen inks, to use their paints, and to have fun with it, to enjoy it. And so a lot of my style, my personal style, is abstract floral art. And so I like to use my supplies and have fun with them. And so yeah, if you can join me in that endeavor by having fun with your supplies, then that makes me happy. So if you have fountain pens that you want to do a currently inked spread, and you want to swatch and play with your fountain pens, get them. Join me. And if you're watching the replay, then do it along with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to document or swatch all of my currently inked fountain pens. There's 15 of them, so I think we can get through them. And then I'm going to do a notably inked spread. And my notably inked, as I've mentioned before, are fountain pens that I inked up specifically to play with in the month. So it could be a specific nib that I wanted to explore. It could be a new ink that I'm really excited about, or it could be a new pen. And there were a few new pens this month, right? So we'll do that together, and yeah, and we'll just kind of chill and chat and have fun and hang out. It is a Friday, so it's not going to be intense. I don't do intense streams. It's adorable when the big names get all fangirly. I know. I fangirl over Karina, and Karina and I are friends. So every time I see Karina's name pop up or we chat, I'm like, Karina. It's fun. But I do this on this stream too. Everyone who pops into chat, I'm like, hello, how's it going? GHP. So yeah, we can fangirl over each other. If you want to get more into glass tip nibs and you haven't checked this out yet, you need to check out Kemi's Labo at, oh yes, Shikiori ink. I think you mentioned it last time, right, GHP? And we looked it up, and I am definitely interested. Oh, Karina, stop it. I know, we only meet once or twice a year, right? And then we just like chat the whole time and catch up. And then we're like, okay, see you next time. See you in 6 months. No, what you need to do is you need to plan a trip to Vancouver. Because then we can do like a whole planner meetup and stuff. But yeah, it would be fun. It would be fun. Pen shows are fun in general though. Because then I get to hang out with all the people, right? All the people that we talk to online. And we're like, hey, yes, with Helen, of course, right? Definitely, we have to. Oh, talk about fangirling, right? Every time I meet up with Helen, I'm like, ah, stop, act normal. All right, okay. So this month, I noticed that at least half of the fountain pens that I had inked up, I used samples. And so remember this, if you love collecting samples, definitely use them in your fountain pens and also for painting, because otherwise they'll sit there, right? So one of the things I like to do is when I have when I get a sample ink, I usually try and find a pen that it would look good in or with. And especially if they're like fun, bright colors, right? And then I pull out my like fun, bright fountain pens because like why not? Why not match a fun, bright ink with a fountain pen, right? Ink Dependence Mike got me onto that, and the first one I got was so good. I had to order another. Oh, that's awesome. Yes, you can, GHBA, you can order glass dip pens with certain nib size. And at the SF Pen Show, or at like any pen show where you have glass studios that attend, you can actually like test out the different sizes most of the time. They'll have tester glass dip pens, and so you can try out the different sizes and see. But yeah, they definitely grind it to, or sand it, however they sort of get it to a certain size. And then when you try it out and you're purchasing it directly from a glass studio, you can also, similar to like getting a nib grind, you can also work with them to get it ground to like your specific sort of writing style as well. But yes, that's a good point. Glass dip pens do have different points and different sizes. And sometimes, like if you do write with a glass dip pen and you think, you know, oh, this feels like the line is too thin, or you sort of feel uncomfortable writing with it, it's probably because you need a glass dip pen that suits like the size that you write with. Kind of like a fountain pen, right? I pulled out all of my samples recently and decided I have to start using them. Yeah, exactly, Needle Girl. What's the point of having them, right? Sitting in a box. And then also, depending on your sample vials, like they could, the water could evaporate, so they're more saturated. They come out darker next time. They can also go bad, potentially. Yeah, exactly. So pull them out, paint with them. Draw with them, like if you have a glass dip pen or a dip pen in general, draw with them or write with them, right? Yeah, I mean, of course you can fill them up again, but the point is use your samples. Use your samples. And even if it's just like, you know, taking them out every once in a while just to play with them, and re-swatch them maybe. Then, you know, it's a good way of revisiting your samples. And sometimes I find, like, when I get a sample, I think, you know, oh, maybe it's like a red or an orange or something. And I think, oh, maybe not this month. I don't know if I'm going to ink it up or use it. And then, you know, in the summertime or a different season, sometimes I think, you know what? I need to ink up some fun colors. And I don't have a lot of ink bottles that are like red, orange, or those sort of bright colors. And so having samples is great because I'm not going to ink them up year round, but I might do it over like summer months. So this is currently inked. We're going to swatch all of my currently inked fountain pens. And then we'll do specific ones. Hi, Fountain Pen News. How's it going? Happy Friday. How have you been? And how many fountain pens do you have inked up? Currently inked, Wendy Sue. Actually, that's a great question for everyone. How many do you have currently inked? Like, what's your, or what's your comfortable, like, what's the number that you're comfortable having inked up? If you ink up a lot of pens, how many do you like to sort of keep it to? So this is a Franklin-Christoph. Pocket20 or P20. And then the nib that I have in this is a Gena nib, and it's called a Perspective. And I bought this nib directly from Gena. I didn't have it ground, so Gena had a few nibs that were already ground at the California Pen Show. And so I purchased one because I got a different grind and I just didn't have time to get all these things ground. So I was like, can I just buy a pre-ground nib from you? And the answer was, yes, you can. So a perspective nib is similar to like a naginata variation. And so depending on the angle that you write at, you can get a different line width, which is kind of my favorite grind, I think, is having those different line variations. Let me just... I wish there was like an easy way to just get rid of comments, and I know someone told me how to. Yeah. Nope. I think it deleted someone else. Anyway. Hi, Olive Octopus Ink. Enjoy your lurk. More inked up than I can count, usually. All of them, pretty much. Oh, sorry. I think I deleted your comment fountain pen use because, you know, of course you can delete regular people's comments, but nope, you can't delete, you can't delete spam. I love it. Amazing. Great. I'm so glad I'm not alone. Yeah. I know. I could fountain pen use. I think I have to go into Stream Elements to do that. But if you're volunteering fountain pen use, I have no problem making you a mod. 13 to 12 in the case to carry to and from work. Yeah. One that stays at home. You've had as many as 15 or 16 GHP? Yeah. I think my sort of sweet spot is around 15 as well. Sometimes 16, but I think it sort of varies between like 12 to 15. That's kind of where I end up. Oh, yay. Thanks, fountain pen use. I'll set it up after this. You have 1 billion inked up? Yeah, I know. I used to be like that. I would have like, I think I had upwards of maybe like 40 inked up at a time. And it was mostly because I got a lot of sample inks that I wanted to play with, right? And it was kind of at the time where I wanted to try out different inks. And it turned out that I threw them in different fountain pens. And so I would have like upwards of like 40. And then, you know, eventually I kind of got to the point where I realized like which fountain pens, depending on nibs and the style of fountain pens, I was more drawn to. And so that's how I kind of like brought the number down to like a manageable to me number. Because then, yes, similar to GHP, I could sort of put it into a pen holder or pen pouch, and then I could have some fountain pens in my tray, which sits on my desk. And for the most part, I use my fountain pens for, I use them for like journaling and also just like stream of consciousness kind of writing. So when I just take out my notebook and I just kind of write unfiltered thoughts. And that's where I kind of like to play with my fountain pens. And I usually have one fountain pen that I use in my planner and kind of stick to that. So this one is a Franklin-Christoph Pocket20 with a perspective nib by Gena. And it is inked up with a sample ink that I got. It's Kobe 12 Okamoto pink. And so I thought it's like a great match to, I think, this candy apple red or something. But it's a really fun pen. And I don't take it out often enough. But for a pocket pen, it's a great size, and I love that it's like a slip cover, slip on. So the next one, the next one is the Esterbrook Estie. And this is like a pen that I always have inked up because I just can't seem to put it away. It has a techo nib. So this is the Nouveau Bleu model, and it has a techo nib. And I just, because it's like a blue brown sort of, you know, the coloring, it's so easy to ink it up because I have a lot of blues and I have a lot of browns. And so every time I kind of want to play with like a blue or brown, I pick up this this pen. So it's one of my go-tos. And I just love this nib. It's so good. And I have it inked up with another sample that I got from someone, and it's called Sailor Afternoon Tea. And it's like a really, really pretty brown, but like a warm brown. So it's kind of like a caramel color. You wish you had the techo? Yeah, it's such a great nib. And then after I got the techo nib, I actually had CY grind another techo, which I think he calls a mini sankaksen. And then I had like a regular sankaksen ground by him, which is like the, you know, similar to an actual naginata. And it's ground from a double broad, whereas the techo is ground from a broad. But I do love this nib because it has the engraving from CY on it too. I guess I just have to settle for the katana that Kurt ground me. I mean, any of those variations, right? Like for me, it's amazing. I love writing with that kind of nib. So whoever will grind it. You're getting 2 new pens today, Fountain Pen News. What are you getting? You have to share. No, you don't have to tell us, but if you want to tell us, we'd love to know. The silver trim looks good on the Estie. You have the gold trim. Yeah, so funny story, GHP. When they announced the techo nib, when CY shared that he was grinding it for Esterbrook, I was like, I need to get this nib, you know, I really want it. So initially I ordered, like I sent Esterbrook an email and I asked for the gold trim, and they responded with, you know, we're low on stock, so we have to double check that we have them still available. And I was like, okay, no, I'll take the silver trim, like it's fine, you know. So I had initially picked the gold, but I'm happy with it. I think gold looks really good because it brings out like the brown caramel color in the pen. But also like the silver looks really good with a blue. And so I think both trims would have been great. Yeah, what you getting? The Leonardo Memento Magic. Oh, the amethyst. Ah, Yes, I was so tempted because I saw a few people on social had it, and it looked so good in photos. And what nib did you get? And a vintage M600 with a flexi oblique broad nib. Whoa. That sounds like it's going to be a juicy rider, and I am so excited for you. It's such a smooth rider with Manyo Budo. Oh, the blue-black. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I would have taken the silver. I was tempted by the amethyst, but I did just get 6 pens in Chicago. Karina. 6 pens. I did like the Franklin-Christoph, was it the antique glass? The like teal one? Because I have that too, and it is so pretty. But yeah, you did get some nice pens. I got rose gold in Leonardo and broad. Nice. Yeah. Oh, that is such a nice, that is such a nice pen. Honestly, I was so tempted because I saw Atlas got it in, and I was like, oh, maybe I should order it. But I didn't. So enjoy. Antique glass. Yeah, it's so gorgeous. Oh, you got the Kadachi. Yes, amazing. That's on my list of like if I get another grind by Matthew Chen, because I have the beak point from Matthew. But if I get another grind, I think it's going to be the Kadachi. Yeah, living the dream, right? Oh, wrong bit. It has an EFCSI nib. My other FC had a ground into an M. Oh, an M Kadachi. Nice. Yeah, the cursive italic though is nice too. Yeah, I've been tempted by the amethyst, but went with the nibs and flourishes. That one's a nice one too. All of them are so nice. The Leonardos. Even Karina's Leonardo was so tempting. Honestly, I could just have like a collection of all the different Leonardo and like collabs and oh, so good. You got a killer price on the Leonardo. See? So then you have to, right? You're almost like, if I don't, you're going to regret it. The Oster is beautiful, but the amethyst is still calling. Oh, it's calling your name. Uh-oh. So this is the Esterbrook JR. And I have a stub nib in this. It's very, very pretty. And I inked it up with the Scriven Pen Show ink sample that I had. So it's by Pennonia for Scriven Pen Show, which is happening this weekend. Karina, I wish we were going to Montreal so we could meet up there. Oh, yeah. But if you are in the Montreal area or in Quebec or you're in Ontario and can do the drive, it is, I think it's tomorrow, right? Yeah, it's tomorrow. And then you can get the show ink. Because I feel like so they sent me a sample to play with and I was like, I want the whole bottle now because it's so pretty. It's like a nice moss green color. It's called Mossy Stonewall. And yeah, it's just like such a nice green. Like it's not too much, it's not too in your face. What is the show ink? It's the Pennonia ink called Mossy Stonewall for Scriven Pen Show. And it's such a nice mossy green for sure. Your end price was $130. Whoa. That's amazing. You definitely lucked out on that. I would love to go to Montreal, but it's so expensive flying from there. Yeah, I know. It's so expensive to fly from the West Coast to the East Coast, right? I know. Maybe next year. Pop out gal. Ah, hey, how's it going? Hi, friend. Thank you so much for subscribing and joining the club. Yay, I'm so glad you're here too. A friend is picking up a bottle for you, fountain pen use. Oh, amazing. Yes, it's gonna be good. I hope that it does really well. I hope that a lot of people attend and have fun. They have free workshops and other things happening. Like, they're doing a really, really great job on planning the show. And hopefully it's a success, because I do want to go one of these years. Maybe next year, but I wish. That is a great green ink. Yeah, hashtag want for sure, right? You'll try to attend. Oh, yes, you're there. Ethrak, you should try and attend, even if it's just for a little bit, because I think, is it free entry? Because definitely just drop in if you can. Yes, happy Friday. How's it going? I know, you're lucky if you're getting the show ink. I know a lot of people asked me if I was going so I could pick up a bottle, and I was like, I'm not going. So, yeah. Maybe next time. I also wish I was going to Scriptus, which is the Toronto Pen Show, at the end of October. Well, I mean, never say never, but I don't know. Okay, what's my next one? Let's do another Estie. I'm going out of order because these are the pens that I want to swatch for my notably inked spread, which is where I'll draw my abstract flowers. But I do want to just list all of my currently inked. So I just have like I have it documented. So this is the Esterbrook Estie Back to the Lands. I think this was called Quirky Leaf. And I actually got a broad nib, and then I got it ground by Gena at one of the pen shows into a journaler. So it's a broad journaler, which is a little bit broader than the journaler that Gena grinds for Esterbrook directly, because that is ground from a medium nib. So I'm so sad we had to cancel our trip to Canada this year. No, that's so sad. So I do love the broad journaler because you get that same sort of rounded stub italic font or writing, but just with a broader nib. And I tend to write with broader nibs, so that's kind of my preference. So this one is Dominant Industry and Wonder Pen's collaboration ink, and it's called Tuna and Olives. This is, speaking of nice greens, this is actually a really nice green as well. And it is like an olivey green. So it's such a nice shade as well. Then we have the Pilot A23. Such a nice pen. Classic. I got it with a signature nib because I was very curious about sort of, Pilot's version of like a rounded stub. And it writes so nicely. It's super, super comfortable to write with too. And very smooth in terms of like transition, especially when you're doing loops and stuff. So I have it inked with Diamine Twilight, which I have to say is one of my favorite inks because it's like a perfect combination of like a dark green, greenish blue. So it's almost like a black, it's almost like a black green or green black. But yeah, it's really, really nice. You love your 823 with signature nib? Yeah, it's so nice. Like, I kind of took a risk because I hadn't tried that kind of nib before. But for Pilot, I was like, you know what? Any nib's gonna be nice. So I am really, really happy with it for sure. You giving me ideas with that nib? I'm always a fan. I'm always a fan of green. Yes, for sure. I'm also a fan of green. Greens and blues. I recently bought a Pilot VP EF nib and had to get it tuned and smoothed by Kirk's Spear. But now it's fantastic. Yeah. And Kirk probably tuned it so that it's actually better than what it would have been out of the box. Yeah, that's interesting that you had to get the Pilot tuned. Like, was it a little scratchy or just sort of off? So also with EF nibs, if there's just a little tiny thing off about it, it obviously like magnifies it because you have such a fine nib. It was scratchy. Yeah, the EF nibs can be. Yeah. And it wouldn't be comfortable because it's obviously like you don't have a lot of nib to play with. Yeah, it's like Helen's Pilot 743, and she got it right out of the box and it was a little scratchy, and I was like, yeah, that's a nib that we need to get tuned, and Gena did an amazing job with that. So so as much as I love Pilot nibs, there are, you know, those offhand sort of times that you need to get it looked at. So the next fountain pen that I have is the Benu Pixie, and I've been playing around with this all month, and every time I stream or, you know, I'm sharing, like I share about this fountain pen, I always mention the cap, because the one thing about a pocket pen is most of the time I will cap it or I will post it, and I don't post my pens generally. So the only time I will post it is if it sort of adds to the balance of the pen when you're writing with it. And so for pocket pens, usually it feels more comfortable when you're posting it. And the only little thing I had about this pen was that I couldn't get the cap to post in a way that it didn't slide off. So as I was writing, I would sort of nudge it a little bit and it would start to slide off. And I think Fountain Pen News, Wendy Sue mentioned that you may have to find the sweet spot for that cap to sit. And I'm so thankful you said that, Wendy Sue, because I did find the sweet spot, and it's putting the sort of like the logo side, pointing it downwards. And so when you sort of shimmy it on, it stays. And I've had like no issues since I did that. And the added sort of positive to that is that because there's sort of this groove here, it sits really nicely within like where, you know, my fingers sort of meet. So in that little crevice, in that little spot there, it just sits comfortably in there. So I feel like maybe they did that on purpose. I don't know, because I haven't seen that in like review videos or anything like that, where it's like, oh, well, this is how you're supposed to post it, and this is how it's supposed to sit. Because usually, you know, maybe you want the logo to face upwards. I don't know. But if you face it down and it sort of sits in your hand like this, it feels really comfortable. And I haven't had an issue with the cap sort of nudging off. So yeah, I'm gonna put that in my little review video or whatever, where I sort of talk about the fountain pens that I got this month and have been playing around with. So for a pocket pen, the Pixie was really cute, and that's why I got it. I was very curious about the size and how it would feel to write with it. Turns out it's very comfortable, and the shape of it and the size of it doesn't, you know, like it works really well. It feels nice to write with, and I got it with a broad nib because I wanted to sort of test the broad nib from Benu. And yeah, it's really nice. All that to say is I'm now really happy with it, and I haven't had an issue with the cap. So I think it's something that they may have addressed in the other models that they made that are more recent. But for this first model, turns out, I think you just kind of have to find the spot to post it. And I inked it up with a sample ink, Edelstein aquamarine. And so I thought that was a really nice match to the greenish aqua teal side of the cap. Yeah, the struggle with F or EF nibs, they're scratchy. I mean, they shouldn't be scratchy, but yeah, I understand what you mean. Like sometimes you sort of get that feedback that may or may not feel comfortable. Unpopular opinion, I love the EF on the Jinhao 10, Karina. That's awesome that you found something that works for you, that you actually like. And I guess it's kind of, I don't know if it's surprising that it's a Jinhao, but I have heard really good things about the Jinhao and their nibs, but also that it can be like hit or miss sometimes. So I'm glad that you found that you like it. That's awesome. Probably why I've become more of a fan of broad and juicy. Yes, welcome to the club. The juicier, the better. If I try to write with a medium or broad, my tiny writing looks like a puddle. Yes, I know. It's because you have really pretty small writing. Whereas for me, as I've gotten older, I can't see my writing if it's too small. And I just write a little bit bigger. That's what you need to do, is just write bigger. That's a beautiful teal. Yeah, it is really pretty, right? Aquamarine. Not so much rose quartz too light. Yeah, it is. It's a little bit. Yeah, I like the beautiful tiny writing too. Oh, you got a really good EF on your Jinhao 10 as well, GHP. Okay, well that's good to know. So, you can get the really nice EF nibs for sure. All right, so the next one. Oh, speaking of pilot vanishing points, and this is not an EF nib though. So my Pilot VP has a broad nib, surprise, right? I actually have one that has a medium nib, and then this one has a broad nib. And I inked it up with, I'll show you. So I inked it up with Bungabox Tears of Alice. It's probably one of my favorite teal colors because it's like really nice and bright, and it's not as dark. So it's like a true teal to me. And it's a really, really nice ink. And I like the combination with like the all black sleek pen, where you kind of have something surprising in it, like something bright and fun. So that is the Pilot VP. And the number 8 size EF nibs on my Jinhaos are really smooth, juicy writers as well. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it is beautiful. You can't wait for this year's Pelikan Hub? Yeah. I don't know when, they should be announcing it soon, right? If they haven't already. So my next pen is the Parker. It's a vintage Parker Maxima. It's from the 50s or 60s. And The nib is a left oblique, and it's a very juicy left oblique, and very, very smooth. It's a gold nib, and it writes very smoothly. And it's very fun. And I have it inked up with just a Pilot blue. Just a classic blue for a vintage pen. That is such a nice and fun nib. Definitely not an everyday writer type of pen for me, but it is one of those pens that, you know, when I want to have some fun doing headers or just a different kind of writing style, it's one of those pens that I turn to. September. Yeah, but have they, I know the Pelikan Hub is in September, have they announced it like in terms of signing up for it, or is that coming? So this is the TWSBI Eco Cement Gray. I have this as a fine nib. So the only pens I probably have anything finer than like a broad or maybe, oh, do I have medium? No. Anything that's like finer than a broad or a medium is the TWSBI Eco in an F, because it writes no problem. And then the other one I have is the Platinum Century 3776 in a needlepoint, a UEF. And those are like the only two. So if I'm gonna have a finer nib, it'll probably be one or two, and it's for a specific purpose. So this one I actually used to write in my planner. And obviously with a finer nib, it dries faster and I can write a little bit smaller. So it's probably Karina size. One of Kirk Spear's needlepoints is just chef's kiss. Yeah, Kirk's needlepoint. Oh, he's like the go-to for that. So this is an F. And, oh, I have this inked up with a sample that I got. And now I'm like obsessed with this ink. And I need to find a bottle of it. I need to get a bottle of it. It's called Lampwork Museum Maroon. Or I need to find an ink that's similar to this, because this is like the nicest maroon, purpley maroon burgundy that I have found so far. And so I'm glad that I filled the pen with the sample, because yeah, I will write this dry. I love this ink. It is so nice. I'm on our committee for Pelikan Hub for Orange County. So you haven't heard anything yet. Yeah, that's okay. It is coming. Hopefully I can attend this year, but I haven't been able to in the past because it's just a scheduling thing. So the next one I'm going to do is the Tom Studio fountain pen. And it is a pocket pen, and it's also easy to uncap. It has this band that slides in. And then when you post it, it's like a full-sized or even bigger. Wow. It's pretty long. So it doesn't feel like a pocket pen when you post it, for sure. It has a great sort of feel to it and weight to it because it's metal. So the nib that I have in it is the Titanium Flex from Tom Studio. And this is my first titanium nib. And so I got it because I was obviously very curious about it. It's just very cool. And it has a slight flex to it, so you can push it a little bit. and just get like some fun writing with it, because it has a little bit of give to it. And I have it inked up with Robert Oster Sydney Lavender, which is another sample that I got. But it's a really nice dark lavender color. Sort of like a purple black purple. So it's very, very dark. Zodiac pens. You have arrived. Did you get the notification? I know Karina made it here before you did. Bart finally makes it. I hope you're doing well, Bart. It looks similar to Wearing Gold Jane Eyre. Yeah, oh, the purple color. You didn't get the text alert? Oh. But you made it. So glad you're here, finally. I feel like the last few streams I've streamed, Bart just doesn't show up, but it's because he doesn't get the notifications or doesn't see them or whatever. You saw my story last night? Yes. I know. I put up the story and I put up a note on Instagram, one of the Instagram notes, because I was like, you better come. Yay, I'm glad you're here though. And Karina's here, so it's like all the peoples. Yeah. Everyone's here. Well, almost everyone, but that's okay. I'm just glad whoever's here is here. So the next one is, speaking of Leonardo's, the only Leonardo I have, because I can't start collecting Leonardos. It will get out of hand really quick. But I feel like the Leonardo I have, it's a Momento Zero, is perfect. So I'm good with this. It's the Kintsugi and collaboration with Stilo and Stile. And I got a broad nib and I had it ground by Gena into a reverse architect. Reverse architect. The only reverse grind I have for now, but I am loving reverse grinds. So I feel like I will definitely get more of those. So on the correct side of writing, it writes sort of like an EF to a fine line, and then on the reverse is a broad architect. All the cool people are here. I mean, we're missing some cool people, but we definitely have cool people here. This is the cool hangout. Five Leonardos, and they're among your favorites. I know. No, what I'm saying, Etherak, is that if I get more Leonardos, I will just keep collecting them. There are so many, like the amethyst, or just all of them. All the recent, I feel like over the last little bit, like over the last few months or so, every time there's been a release of a Leonardo, I'm just like, I could have that one. It's so gorgeous. 4 of them have Jonathan Brooks resins. I know. That's why they're dangerous, right? Yeah, the Cool Kids Club. We're all in the Cool Kids Club. We're so cool. We're playing with fountain pens. You can be one of us, though. Oh, Skogsy. Speaking of cool people, Skogsy's like, wait. Wait a minute. I'm here. Right? Cool, cool, cool. I'm attempting to collect the Jonathan Brooks Leonardos. Good luck with that. Yeah, no, you're all cool. I got my first Mont Blanc, and I keep looking to add another. Now that is way cooler. Okay, now you've just upped it, Zodiac, and I don't know. because I have yet to get my first Mont Blanc, and so we're not that cool. Yeah, Skogsy had to show up for the Cool Kids Club. Yeah, the Cool Kids Club is in session. Skogsy has shown up. Yeah. That guy. Right? That guy. Ugh. Well, I hope whatever pen show you're both at next, you're as close together. Or not. Or not. Maybe it's too much trouble. Maybe you two need to be separated. So I have this Leonardo inked up with Sailor Manyo Ume, and it is also an ink sample that I have. But I am loving the sort of this deep brown, reddish brown. That's what I was going for. It's more like a reddish brown, which is really nice. I intend to get my first MB when I sell my house. Yeah. Yeah, definitely get a mortgage on that. For sure. Don't you find the Sailor Manyo inks relatively dry? Yes, well, do I? All of them? I do find this one, the Ume, a little bit dry, on the drier side. So I do sometimes feel the dryness when I'm writing with it. But once it sort of gets going, then it's fine. But I don't know. I wonder if it's sort of like a Manyo thing. If they just tend to be a little bit drier. We behave at least 10% of the time. I don't know. I feel like you behave even less than that. But I've yet to see that. So all you creators. Oh, I see, GHP. You're normies. Yeah. Wow, I beg to differ. I feel like we're all creators if we play with fountain pens because we're all having fun with it. Yamabuki is a lovely flowing ink. Okay, so maybe not all of them. That's how you feel, Papa Gal? No, you're not. Okay, you are kind of normal, but wow, we're a little weird. It could also be the pen, yeah. Which ones? I find my Ume and Budo to be very nice and well behaved. Yeah, I feel like it could be the pen as well, or it could be the nib, right? Like the specifically the nib that you put it in. And I think with this one that I have Ume in, I find that when I write on the architect side, which is broad, it's better flowing than on the other side, which writes like an EF to an F. So I think it sort of depends on your nib as well. This is why she always knows how to show we are all special. You are all special. That's why you're here. You're part of the cool club. You're a cool kid. They write, but they feel harsh. Yeah, could be. This is the Pilot E95S. And this one has the medium nib. And another pocket pen that I recently acquired, and I love this pocket pen so much. I'm so glad that I got this because it feels really nice to write with, and it behaves really well too. And it actually writes pretty juicy. And I have this inked up with a sample ink that I got, a Sailor Shikiori. It's called kamo-shika. Probably mispronouncing it, but and so what I did with this, because I have seen reviews about the converter, the infamous pilot converter. So what I actually do is I just fill up a cartridge. And so with a converter, you may not be able to see the ink level, but with a cartridge you can. So that's kind of my go-to with pilot pens, even with my vanishing point, is I just use a cartridge and then I just refill it with whatever ink I was using, or, you know, wash it out. And because I cannot deal with the pilot converters. I cannot handle them. The nib can make a huge difference. Yeah, of course. With Kirk Skythe, Manu Ume is butter smooth, and Budo finally became what I hoped it might be in the STM ground to katana. Yeah. Definitely the nib will make a difference as well. And sometimes I find there's like certain inks that I like to match up with certain nibs and certain pens, just because the matchup is a great matchup. That's exactly what I did with my E95S, the cartridge. Yeah, that Con 40, I cannot handle it. It is too much. It is too much. So yeah, if I can just refill converters or cartridges and use the cartridge with whatever ink, I am great with that. For now anyways, and then we'll see. I always learn so much from the streams and chats. Yeah, Paul Palgal. That's why I love these streams, especially because, and like people who join in the chat are like so knowledgeable, and just, or like not even knowledgeable, but like, you know, you can just share how you do things, and it's like, oh, well, I never thought of that, right? So it's like idea sharing and experience sharing. Like some people have tried different things that may or may not have worked, and it's like, I'd love to know that so that, you know, I could do the same thing, or I could stay away from something. It's like, if we're all kind of doing trial and error, it's nice that, you know, we get to share that with each other. And like what works might not work for someone else, but it could also potentially save you some trouble and some time. The Con 40 syringe fill, because it's just yuck. I know. Why is the Con 40 the way it is? The Con 70 is just difficult to clean. Yeah. So basically all the pilot converters. I'm hoping the Con 70 will be better when I finally get my 742. Yeah. We'll see. I just love the streams even on replay because Carla's voice is so calming. Oh, thanks, Karina. Thank you for watching the replays. I always kind of wonder, like, because we do so much like chit-chatting that, like, I wonder, you know, if people watch the replay and they're just like, you know, just gibberish, just random chatting about random things, which it is the way it is. But it's also fun the way that we do it here. And it's super chill. So this is the Esterbrook TCMC, the TheCoffeeMonsterzCo collaboration pen, which I still love. It is such a nice pen, and it just like uncaps smoothly, but also I love Estes. So if you didn't know that about me, I do love Estes. I love the shape. I think that they're very comfortable to write with, for me. And so yeah. But this one is just so gorgeous. So I still have it inked. It's still one of my notably inked because I'm still playing around with it. And this nib, I got a journaler with it, and it is ground from a medium nib, stock nib. So that's why I like having the variations of nibs, because this one's a medium journaler and then I have the broad journaler. And so I can definitely feel and see the differences between the two. And it's enough for me to have those two pens inked up. So this is the Estie with a journaler nib, which writes very smoothly and so nice. And then I have it inked up with the Esterbrook TCMC collab ink. Forgotten iced coffee. I just love that name. I think it's such a nice name. So funny. And hard to forget, even though it has forgotten in the name. It's hard to forget funny and quirky ink names. I don't have a Mag 600, though I wish I did. Yeah, I've had to watch a few replays when you weren't invited for the lives. I know, Zodiac. I'm sorry for banning you from the lives. I'm just kidding. I've never banned you, but apparently the notification does not alert you. A notification is not enough to alert Bart to join the streams. They just get buried in all the other notifications. I'm not special enough. Oh, both of us have calming voices. Thanks, Papa Gal. I replied to the chats in the comfort of my own home. Yes. So it's like I'm talking to you, but really to myself. Yeah, Karina, I feel like I'm doing that on the stream. Like, I know I'm talking to you, but I'm also talking to myself because it's kind of like I'm talking at the screen. So I hear you. I hear you. You may not want to get your hopes up. Pilot is very slow to change. Yeah, Skogsy is right. Pilot is very slow to change, so. But we can always hope. And maybe if they... I know they've heard feedback, and I know they've heard how people feel about the converters. So hopefully, you know, they'll take that into account at some point. I don't know. Maybe not anytime soon, but... I just mean that the Con 70 will actually be usable versus the Con 40. Oh, you want a usable converter, GHP. Why didn't you say so? Pilot, get on it. I've had a couple of cracked Con 40s, and just because, like, it's, you know, I didn't even push them into the pen hard or anything like that. But, you know, just the way that it's designed is like, ugh. And I think there was one time when I ordered a Con 40, you know, on one of the sites, and it came and it had a tiny crack in it. And so, you know, the ink started to leak or seep through the tiny crack. And it's like, why? Why can your converter not be protected? Apparently you're too much trouble. Zodiac pens is too much trouble. Totally. Yeah, Karina knows. Bart is trouble. In a good way. Con 70 works really well. It's the only issue. It's the difficulty to clean. Oh, you have to spray water into the tiny metal straw. That's too much, Skogsy. That's too much work. It's finicky. It's finicky. It's definitely like... You know, you have to be careful when you're cleaning it, and it's a little bit more finesse. I mean, you know, as fountain pen users, I feel like we should be more careful with things and finesse things, but also. So, next fountain pen I'm swatching is the Platinum 3776. And this is the UEF nib. And speaking of nibs that you have to be very gentle with and careful with, but also writes really nicely. And I have this inked up with Platinum Carbon Black. And so it's a nice writer, it's very dark, and I just use the carbon black cartridges. And that's all that this pen has. Very specific nib, ink, and use for that one. Persnickety cleaning. can be part of the fun for sure. Like some people really enjoy cleaning fountain pens and, you know, that whole ritual of taking apart a pen or, you know, cleaning out an ink and putting in a new ink and things like that. So we are very ritualistic people too, right? Like we love like habit, routine, and also a process of things, I find. So cleaning is part of that. And some people may not like it and some people do like it. Like some people actually love the cleaning part of it because it can be very calming, right? Like it can be very like just like there's a way to do certain things, and cleaning is one of those. And if you have a certain process you go through, then it just makes it a little bit more fun. I have to clean 7 pens today, and I'm super glad I have this shown. Cleaning tools. Yes, I do too, Skogsy. And I feel like that was one of the best purchases I made in terms of supplies or tools, accessories for pens was Shown Designs, Ian's the cleaning, what are they called, right? Like cleaning tools, syringes or whatever. But yes, they help to get like specific pens too, right? Because I have one for the Sailor, one for Pilot, and then like a Yovo general one. Syringe adapters, yeah, syringe adapters. And you put them on and they are designed for specific pen types or models. And so they're easier to, you know, sort of fill with or like pull up ink, pull up water and flush them out. And so, yeah, they are very useful. I've gotten way better at cleaning my stuff than I thought possible. Yeah. The best converter I've come across is the huge capacity one in the Jinhao 9019 that screws in a huge converter capacity. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, you like watching a good stream and cleaning fountain pens. Yeah, I feel like I listen to like podcasts and sometimes I watch like YouTube videos while I'm like cleaning my pens because yeah, it's sort of, you know, you have something on while you're doing it and you sort of get in the groove, right? And if you make it sort of part of like your monthly routine or however often you clean your pens, like I do it at least once a month, I think, where when I sort of change over my currently inked. So I clean all my pens and then I plan out what I'm going to ink for the next month, which is like so fun for me. I love the planning out, like picking out inks that I want to use and the pens that I'm going to use. Anyways, the last pen that we're going to do in this currently inked is a Skogsy. It's a baby Saguaro. And it's in an Ultim model, super sleek. And I threw in a Franklin-Christoph Raven all black nib that is ground as a BB SIG, so double broad SIG from Franklin-Christoph. So it's ground by Audrey in-house, and I just think it's like super sleek and classic, like incognito. Dancing Elise, thanks for the follow. Thanks for being here. Anyway, so this is one of my favorite pocket pens. Talk about cool, right, Skogsy? This is one of those cool pens. Especially with the nib combination. It just writes so juicy and so broad. And I have it inked up with Platinum Chokuro. Which is the blackest of all inks. And it definitely completes this. Like, I don't think I'll ever change out the nib or ink from this pen either. It's just one of those like classic combinations that I adore together. I hope I can get it pen from Skogsy soon. Yes, I hope so too. In SF. Thank you. I have my baby Saguaro inked with carbon black. Yes, that is another good combination. That's another great combination. And then it goes in this cute little baby sleeve. So cute. I look forward to the day when I find my cleaning groove. Yeah, I know. You have to do it a few times. But, well, at least I had to. I had to do it a few times before I sort of got into the rhythm of like what tools to use to make cleaning more easy and just a little bit more enjoyable. And then have sort of a process, right? And then have your tools. So you have your like water bowls and the bowls that you put the ink into, paper towels, stuff like that. And when I clean my pens, I don't have that many to clean at a time, but I still set up like a station, a cleaning pen station. I just like cleaning pens. I start strong and fade out fast. Yeah. When killing pens. Oh, you mean cleaning pens, not killing pens? You just throw them out. You're just like chucking them. Like, nope, can't clean them. It has a con 70. I definitely can't wait for pen shows because, you know, aside from like getting maker pens also, I just love browsing maker pens because they're just so fun and, you know, they push the envelope on design and the way pens are made and you can hold them and stuff. Oh, Diantomentis document black. Yes, that is a pretty black ink too. Maybe I will just never change the ink and just buy new pens. That's another way to do it. Just keep buying pens. For sure. And that's an excuse to buy more. Buy more Leonardos, buy more maker pens. You got Skogsy, you got Zodiac. Take your pick, right? So usually what I do for my currently inked, I have them in this notebook. And so that's kind of what I do on a monthly basis is I just document and swatch all of my currently inked. So then I know per month like how many I've inked up, what inks they have. So if ever I kind of want to go back and you know, re-ink the same inks or just kind of take a look at them, I always have that. But then I do a notably inked monthly spread, and that is basically I draw and swatch up to 8. So it's usually like 6 to 8 fountain pens that are notable for that month because they're different. Well, they're not always different every month, but usually I like to change out at least like the ink or the nib. And I like to have fun with different types of nibs. As you can tell, I love custom nibs and I love nibs that give, you know, variation in lines, so line variation. And yeah, just kind of play around with them a little bit and get to know. I love practicing hand lettering, and so that's another way that you can use different types of nibs is practicing, you know, different writing styles, and yeah, and kind of, you know, use the characteristics of the nib and the ink to explore a little bit more. And so my notably inked are kind of more of an exploration of pen, nib, and ink. And as you can see, I also draw with them. And so it kind of gives me a feel for how the nib sort of reacts to those different variation in lines. So when you do loops and, you know, you do a little bit of shading. And then it's a great way of testing out inks and getting, like, making a swatch of your inks as well. And so, you know, when you sort of flip through later of your ink swatches or however you do your currently inked spreads, It's a nice sort of way to preserve what that ink looks like and how that nib writes. So I do like having a list of currently inked. It's always great to sort of refer back to, you know, what you have inked up per month. And I do like doing this on a monthly basis because sometimes I find that like during winter months or summer months, my, you know, taste or my ink preferences change. So, you know, when it's like warmer and sunnier out, I feel like I sort of go for brighter colors. Whereas in the fall and winter months, I go for more muted, more earthy, neutral, and darker colors. And so it's kind of interesting that way as well. You can sort of see your habits or your preferences as they change sometimes. I know someone who does that. Once it's dry, it goes in the cabinet. Oh, oh, I would probably clean my pens before I put them away, but yeah, that's a way to build a collection, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And that's right. You can sort of test the inks as well to see how they behave in different pens. Especially if you're finding them, right? Like we sort of talked about, if you find them a little bit dry or wet or whatever, a little bit too something, it could be potentially the ink. It could also be the nib. And so it's kind of nice to document that and test them out so that next time you can try them in a different pen and see if it behaves the same way. And sometimes, yeah, sometimes they're a good combo or a terrible combo. And I've also, like, I found through this process of, you know, swatching your currently inked, I found pens that I prefer certain inks in, just because, like, they're a good combination. They flow, you know, I have no problems with the writing. And it's such a smooth experience that I'm like, you know, I love this combination. I'll probably keep it this way. Yeah, it's like a cheat sheet. That's exactly right. That's a cheat sheet. You can sort of, and sometimes, you know, if you're looking to change up your lineup, especially after a while of sort of using pens, it's a good reference to go back and kind of be like, what did I enjoy over the past few months, right? So we are going to swatch my notably inked. So I'm going to move a few things around. And I've mentioned this before, but the notebook I use is the Everyday Book from Galen Leather. It is TRP, Tomoe River paper. And it's blank, but I use the grid sheet underneath. And I will use a clip to keep it down. So I'm just going to swatch these again. And I also find, like, you know, when you do, like, people will do different ways and different spreads to document their currently inked or notably inked, sort of like, you know, new fountain pens and fountain pens that they're playing with. And they'll do different sort of design, loops and styles of writing. And that is to, you know, to really get the most out of how that nib is writing, how that ink behaves. And so for me, it's really like writing and drawing with them, because I do like to find pens and nibs that I feel comfortable drawing with. Bye, Apple Tater. Hi. Welcome. Thanks for the follow and welcome to the stream. And so this one is the perspective again. And here's another question. for you, when you, like, do you find that you ink up your fountain pens mostly with sample inks or with bottled ink? Do you have a lot of sample inks? Because I recently, when I was looking at my currently inked for the month, I realized that almost half of them are from sample vials. And I think it's like me trying to use up my sample inks, but also just because I found good combination with the pens that I have. So I draw cats or paws. Yeah, exactly. That's another good way of doing it. Somehow yeah, bye Apple Tater. I feel like you've been here before. That's all good. You are here, you're following, you're all good. You're part of the cool kids club. There you go. Oh, thanks. My flowers are inspiring. I'm so glad that you think so. We don't talk about the sample. You can't count that high? It shall not be named. Samples, Dancing Elise. Yeah, awesome. And do you also match up your inks to your pens, or do you just kind of, you know, whatever pen you feel like using, you just put in whatever ink? Being new to this cool club, I have more samples than I do purchased inks. That's awesome too. Like, that's how I started, right? I just got like a bunch of samples, and I was trying to find like the inks and brands that I liked. And that's a great way of doing it, is getting a bunch of samples and playing with them and trying them out. And even if you do have a lot of bottled inks, it's still nice to get samples. That way you can find the inks that you actually want to have a bottle of. And sometimes you don't need a whole bottle of something, right? Sometimes you can just have samples of color and stuff. Especially if, you know, you don't have the space for it. And so you have to think about storing those samples. This one is Pennonia. Mossy Stonewall. I was trying to get better at getting a sample before bottles. And it led to a bit of a problem. Yeah, Dancing Leaves, matchy matchy. Yes, of course. I know. And the other thing too is you could be on a hunt for a certain color or a certain type of ink. And that leads to samples, more samples, because you're trying to find that one nice color or that one sort of ink that you know, you're looking for, depending on the pen maybe too. For a stock broad nib, this writes really nicely. The Benu Pixie. So I have a sample of this ink, the Edelstein Aquamarine, but it's just so nice that I'm tempted to get more. Because it's just a really nice, like, dark teal. But I did get a bottle of Bungabox Tears of Alice at the California Pen Show earlier this year. Nope, I got it at the SF Pen Show last year. And I remember because I went by the Bungabox table and they had like sold out of a lot of things. And they did have some inks left. And so I thought, you know, this is my chance to get a few Bungabox inks. And so I got Tears of Alice and I got Fujiyama Blue. But I love the bottle because of the shape and it's so unique. And so I love the ink that I chose as well. Have any of you used Cat's Eye Nebula? I have not. I'm trying and it's practically invisible. Oh no. Oh no. Who was that by, Skogsy? Is it Colorverse? TWSBI Eco. Yeah, Colorverse. I have heard of it. I don't know if anyone else has tried it. TWSBI. Also, if you know of an ink that's similar to Kobe Lampwork Museum Maroon, let me know. Because it is on my list. And any variation of this kind of maroony burgundy, with like a purple shade to it, is definitely up my alley. Yeah. Now this is a fun nib. This one is the Titanium Flex nib from Tom Studio in a Tom Studio fountain pen or pocket pen. And I have tried it out like for sketching as well, and it's really, really fun. So because this nib has a little bit of flex to it, it's sort of easier to maneuver it, like to sketch with. And so you can get like different lines. And you can put down a little bit more ink depending on, you know, the angle that you're drawing at, or like how you sort of flex the nib as well. And it just gives this sort of like cool like style. Because the nib is not so stiff, right? It's sort of one of those nibs that you gives a little bit of flex, so it's great for drawing with or sketching too. Yeah, I like shake it more and bigger nib. Yeah. Right off the bat, I think of ox blood or writer's blood. Yeah, Miss Marilyn, I thought of writer's blood as well because I have that ink, and it's a little bit more reddish than this, or darker maybe. It's a little bit more darker than the maroon color, but I am on a quest and I will find it. That one isn't that one isn't usable for me. Inky I'm just gonna say Inky from now on. I don't know why I attempt to say biostatistician. It never works out the first time. I always think I'm cool by trying to I'm like, I know how to pronounce that, but it never comes out correctly the first time. It's so bad that I thought I had left water in the pen. No, you know what, Skogsy? I haven't heard that ink is really, is that light. Now I actually have to look it up. I'm going to do the Googles. It's a lot of syllables. You know what? There's something about statistician that is kind of a little bit of a tongue twister. So you said colorverse, cat nebula something? Cat's Eye Nebula is a glistening... Let's look it up. Let's see, Vanessa has it, I think. Colorverse. Here we go. Whoa. I mean... The design of it is amazing. Yeah, it does. Fountain pen EF. Multicolored pigment pearl. Yeah. It does look like it might come off light because it has so many properties to it. Right? Like if you sort of get that light tone coming. But I don't know. I don't think it should be super, super light. So I don't know if it's not, if it's just not really shaken up enough or distributed evenly. Oh yeah, even on the Van Ness site, it looks a little bit on the light side, on the lighter side. I'll show you. Right, even in their writing sample that they're showing, they're using a super, super, a wide nib or dip nib or whatever they're using. But it's the font or the writing style has to be really big for us to even see it. Multicolored shimmer. A pale green ink with low shading and multicolored shimmer. Yeah. Other lampshade light colors. Oh, that's what you were talking about, Chrissy. Okay, wearing Gold Jane Air. Robert Oster Atlas. Sidewalk gum. Yes. Scabiosa. I have a sample of sidewalk gum, so I'll try that out too. Yeah, that looks like a light color to begin with. A light combination. The cat's eye. But it shouldn't be illegible. I don't think it's that light. Medium. By the way, where did Zodiac Benz go? I feel like we lost a cool kid. Shows up and then just kidding, probably lurking. But we like trolling Bart, don't we? Okay, let's do this. Journaler. And forgotten iced coffee. This one's really fun to draw with too. It's fun to draw with like stubby type of nibs when they're smooth, when they're rounded or smooth to shade with and stuff. Sometimes you just have to leave one child behind. Oh. Oh, Bart. Mountain of Ink. Yes. Yeah, Mountain of Ink is amazing. But sometimes I just like doing the Googles because I like to see I obviously have like go-to sites. Mountain of Ink is a great one. But I also like to keep tabs on Canadian shops that carry like sample inks and stuff like that. And so when I do the Googles, when I Google inks that I'm looking for, I kind of like to see if they come up in Canadian shops and, you know, give them my traffic. If I can't give them my money, if they don't carry samples and inks like that. But I do like seeing if, you know, they're in stock at local shops first. But there are definitely some great resources for ink swatches and other things. That's okay. Yeah, Chrissy, that's okay. It's all good. But some great ink recommendations for sure. So these are my notably inked fountain pens for May. I am going to switch them up a little bit for June because 3 of these pens, Tom Studio, Pilot E95S, and Benu Pixie, are pocket pens that I acquired at the beginning of this month. And so I wanted to use May to really play with them. So I may ink them up with different inks for next month as I sort of explore them a little bit more and see how they sort of react to different types of inks or different colors. And then also I may use a different ink in my TCMC Estie, and also keep using my TWSBI Eco because they never run out of ink. Their capacity to hold ink is like out of this world. So I'm going to keep using that one. But I may take out the perspective nib out of this pocket pen and actually throw it into my Skogsy Choya, my big chunky big black pen, and use it with so that pen is actually really comfortable to hold, to write with, versus sometimes a pocket pen. So I'm going to use it in that pen and I'll ink it up with something else. I don't know yet. So that'll be for next month. And then I love this Scriven ink by Pennonia. Mossy Stone Wall. I may throw that into a different pen as well. I don't want to use up all of my sample ink, but I do have quite a bit of it, so I think I can use it in different pens. And yeah, I'll keep using the Bungabox Tears of Alice in my BP for a little bit longer anyways. And then I may go with something bright like a magenta. I feel like summer months are kind of like for the pinks, the magentas, for the bright, fun, cheery sort of inks. But I will always have neutral, muted, darker shades because I like the balance. I like to offset some of the brightness with, you know, something a little bit more down to earth. Did you swatch? Yes, I did. Stonewall. That's the mossy Stonewall in my Esterbrook stub. Oh, did I swatch it? You mean like actually draw it somewhere? I think I did somewhere. Let me think. Check out what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put my new M600 fancy nib into a Yovo pen. Ah! Amazing. That sounds like fun. Check out Gourmet Pens on Instagram. She did an inky mess. She did do it. Yes, Gourmet Pens did do an inky mess with it. Fountain pen use. Thank you for sharing that. I did, now that I think about it, I did paint with it last week on my stream. So that's what it looks like on watercolor paper. Yeah, thanks, Karina. And what else? Oh, you know what else I did? So that was like, that was a painting. I just wanted to like paint with it and see what it looked like on paper. And then I did a painting with some Amarillo colors. And so that's the mossy Stonewall, which offsets the bright colors really, really nicely. But yeah, I think if you go to the Scriven Instagram page, they'll have, I think they sort of had a few creators play with their inks and share what it looked like in swatches and like artwork and stuff. So go take a look at their Instagram page because they'll have been tagged in those pictures, so you can get a better idea of what that ink looks like, for sure. That Tears of Alice is calling my name, but that's a spendy one. I know. It is a spendy one. It is so nice, but look at the bottle. Look at that bottle. Right? So I know, and I've already used like some of it. But if you're able to get a sample of it, or you know, if one day you come across Bungabox inks, you can pick it up. Then Tears of Alice is one of my. It's such a pretty color. It's like one of my favorite bright light teals, right? And Fujiyama blue is kind of like a really nice light blue go-to as well. Yeah, I know, it's so pretty. Say less, right? What are we doing if we're not enabling each other to to grab some more ink and join the Ink Pony Club, which is also another cool kids club. If you do ink ponies from Olive Octopus. Definitely do that. Because And if you don't follow all of Octopus Ink, definitely follow Lisa, because the Ink Pony Club is a Lisa idea, Lisa's idea, and an Olive Octopus special. And definitely download an Ink Pony drawing and paint, right? Like that's what we're using inks for, and having fun and coloring, painting. Use up those sample inks. For sure. That's why I can't find this mossy stone wall. Yeah, you have to be in Canada, in Montreal tomorrow. That's how you get this ink. It's the Scriven Pen Show special, the Montreal Pen Show tomorrow. And if you are there, or if you're able to get there, definitely check it out. Get the ink. Send us all samples. No, I'm just kidding. But no, pick up the ink if you can. And maybe it might be available somehow afterwards. I don't know. If it is, I will share. If you're able to pick up the ink outside of the pen show afterwards, they will definitely let us know, and I will definitely let you know. Because it is like one of those bottles that I would definitely want. It is such a nice ink to have in the collection, for sure. Yeah, if you're able to send everyone samples. Same. Yeah, I know. It's like really, really nice. I feel like I've had... Oh, I have a few pen show inks. I feel like most pen shows do it really well. Sometimes, obviously, you know, there'll be a shade that you already have like a similar shade to in your collection, if it's blue or something like that. And so we don't need to collect all the pen show inks ever. But I feel like for a pen show that's relatively new, I think it's their second year, I don't know. I forget now, but for, you know, a pen show that's, you know, sort of up and coming in Montreal and in Canada, specifically, it's really nice to see that they have like a nice shade, a nice ink. I love the story. The mossy stone wall is inspired by the venue that the pen show is in. It used to be an old church, and so it sort of has that vibe, right? Like a mossy stone wall type of vibe. And I love that they kind of went with that. They went with a venue. It's an homage, or the sort of a shout out to the venue that they're in. And it's very Montreal, very Quebec, very Canadian, and yeah, it's a really nice shade. I love it. Believe me, I love to be in Canada right now. I know. Oh, well, I would love to be on the East Coast right now so I could I could attend, but I'm not. So, like Karina said, it just costs so much for us, even in Canada, to go across the coast. Especially for like a one-day event or something that's sort of like, if we can tack it on to something maybe, but just to go for the pen show is quite a bit of an undertaking, financially and just, you know, time-wise. Go all the way across the country. I had to do something. What did I miss about samples? We are talking about the Scriven pen show ink, mossy stone wall. Everyone wants a sample of it. So you can jump on board. I don't know where we're gonna find this ink after the show, but maybe they will help. Maybe they'll have it available somewhere. Or somehow. Or maybe you can get it, you know, yeah, at next year's show. We should all go to Montreal next year for the pen show. Same here. I'm trying to convince my partner to move here. Yes. Canada's really big. Yeah, Canada is really big. It's like, and you don't realize it, or like it sort of hits home when you have to fly from like coast to coast, and it takes like 5 hours for me to get from Vancouver to Toronto. It's a 5-hour flight, and yeah, you know, you have to sort of set aside a day to get there. I'm always down. Yeah, I know. So We'll see. We'll see where, if it's possible to get this ink anywhere outside of the show afterwards. Or at some point in the future. But, or a week by car. Yeah. I mean, you can go across, I don't know if you want to go across some of the, it's not a scenic route sometimes in the middle of the country. That's all I'm going to say. Sometimes I'd rather just fly across or, you know, but doing a road trip across the west, like down the west coast, or even along the east coast of Canada is a beautiful drive. So if you are able to do a road trip, the west coast, obviously a scenic, east coast is really nice. Montreal and Quebec in general is such a nice place to visit in terms of architecture and sort of old buildings, you know, having that sort of like historic buildings. And so again, that's why I'm really glad that they went with like you know, a throwback to like that vibe of like a mossy stone wall being part of an older building or an old church. And that's where they're doing the pen show. Yeah, it's just really nice. We were supposed to go to Montreal and Toronto in July, but you're no longer doing that. Also, July is very, very hot in Toronto. It gets piping. August especially is like super, super hot. I lived in Toronto for 30 plus years before I moved to British Columbia. So climate is one of those things about Ontario that is very, you know, it's something you have to get used to. I want to visit the Atlantic provinces. I do too, Karina. Let's go. You know what they need is a pen show that will take you to the east coast of Canada. And then you can sort of do a road trip along too, right? Your new pens are here. Yay. Awesome fountain pen news. Congrats and enjoy. Have so much fun. People will make fun of me here for pronouncing Quebec the way. Well, even I pronounce it the like English Canadian way of pronouncing Quebec. It's also not en français. Please don't make me take out my high school French. It's very embarrassing, and I can only say bibliothèque and croissant. Yeah, road trip. I'm in on the road trip. Okay. Oh, thanks for coming. Thanks for being here, Karina. Off to lunch. Enjoy your lunch. And hopefully we'll see each other again on stream before we, you know, see each other at a pen show. Quebec. Yeah. Hear people say Quebec. Yes, I know. Yeah. Quebec. I daydream about a long road trip through the Atlantic provinces once we are empty nesters. I think Inky, if you're able to plan a road trip like that, I think that would be so, so pretty and so nice, and you'll have a great time. I've done it once. When I lived in Toronto, I did the road trip across Quebec and into the Atlantic provinces, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, yeah, like so nice. New Brunswick, very nice. Great people too, like really fun people, great food. If you're into seafood and if you're into, you know, just like good food, good burgers and stuff like that, soups and things. But yeah, Paul Pagal, I feel you. We didn't think leaving the country would be a good idea. Yeah. I know. We're having to be careful too, as Canadians, in terms of, you know, yeah, relationships and things like that. And Oh, bye, Miss Marilyn. Have a good one. I hope things go well. Yeah, we'll see Karina and us up. For sure. Yeah, I hear you, by Appletater. It's scary, and we do have to be careful. Please be safe. Let's be safe. Yeah. You don't know. You don't know how people are sort of, right? Like, not everyone has the same perspective and the same viewpoint. And when you're going across country, right, you have to take that into account. You have to take into account being safe and how people are viewing you right now, or, you know, how they may respond to you. And is one of the sad truths right now. Aziza and I are having fantasies about going to PI. Oh, for the Anne of Green Gables sites. Yes. Oh, Anne of Green Gables is like one of those staple stories growing up in Canada. So I read all of the Anne of Green Gables books when I was in school, and PI was definitely one of those like places, right? The red beaches, like the red sand and stuff like that from the books. And yeah, I love that they've sort of preserved that like literature, the history of that literature. It's so fun. But you should, dude, fountain pen use. You should go to PI and visit the Anne of Green Gables sites for sure. Yeah, pop out gal, I hear you. Oh, I was in England in March and April. Most people were pretty nice to me. Yeah. That's funny, by Appletater, your story about being in England or London. Because my husband and my mother-in-law, when she was visiting, they actually did a trip over to the UK. So my husband was away for a week, and my mother-in-law for a couple weeks before she came back to spend some more time with us here, before flying back to New Zealand. And I think when you're in sort of a bubble, or you're in sort of an area where the news is kind of overtaking everything, like that is your reality. But when you visit another country, or you're traveling internationally, I think you sort of get these different viewpoints, and you see things from how the world is seeing things at this time, and how the situation is perceived by the rest of the world when they're not in the thick of it, right? And so like your day-to-day reality is different than the rest of the world's day-to-day reality, where they're seeing it from the outside looking in. And as a Canadian, while we're sort of on the outside as well, we are pulled into it because we are connected so closely to America. And so we sort of see things from a unique perspective, where we have distance, but we don't. And geographically, we don't. We're connected. We're there. And so I hear you. I'm with you. And, all I can say is let's keep the hope alive. Let's keep the hope alive. Let's, do what we can and be good people. It starts by us being good people, by raising good people. And so it's really important what I teach my kids, and how I sort of, bring them up too. And so let's be good. Let's raise good people, and let's try and be nice to each other. But also I will say, having gone through different periods of grief in my life, and having to find an outlet for my grief, I have, as a creative person, I did turn to art, I did turn to stationery, I did turn to fountain pens and inks and painting. And this came about from, me going through stressful times and trying to find a way to, connect with my passion, connect with what brings me joy. And I encourage you all to do that, to find your joy and to hold on to it, to hold on to that joy and really lean into it, because especially during these times where things are just so unknown, we have to turn to things that are known to us, that we know will bring us peace. And so when, we talk about fountain pens and playing with inks and stuff, it may sound like disproportionate to the things that are happening in the world and the seriousness of what's happening in the world. But at the same time, this is what brings us joy. This is what reminds us that, we can be happy, that we can find peace, and we can be, we can find moments where we relax and just let go and be in the moment. And so this is what my stream is about, right? So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we're all here together, and I'm glad that we're all supportive of each other. This is a community, and we are here to take care of each other. And so definitely when you're nerding about, we're nerding out about like nibs and inks and stuff like that, remember this is our outlet, right? Like this is what brings us joy, and we are entitled to it. We are entitled to be happy and find joy, regardless of what's going on around us. But also know, we see you. We're in it with you. I think the whole world is, aware and engaged, and also, we're all trying to find a way through. So there's hope, and there's people, there's good people, and there's all of us. That's how I got into fountain pens. A really tough time. Fountain pen use for sure. And a lot of people, that's how they get into, that's how they go down the rabbit hole, is like you're trying to find something that brings you joy. And that, regardless of sort of what's going on in your life, you should always have something that you can turn to that will bring you happiness. And that's what we budget for. That's what we choose to spend money on. And so, when you choose to spend money on something that brings you joy and that makes you happy, you're allowed to enjoy it. You're allowed to really, really play with it, like really find some joy. Yeah. It's really pricey to get there from Colorado. Very pricey to get anywhere. Like these days, it's so pricey to travel. You're getting into good trouble all the time. Yeah, that's right. That's what it is. Oh, no problem. We are here for each other. And I appreciate you all. And I know that, we're a community. Even though we're very niche, we are a community. And that's partly why what I love about like stationary people in general is that we understand, we get that there are things happening, but we also have something that connects us, right? And so when you're at a pen show, I love that when you're at a pen show or a stationary event, you're all we're all friends, right? We can all geek out about this stuff, and no one's judging, and no one's, putting us down for this kind of stuff. Bailey, good afternoon. You missed everything. You didn't miss everything, but we did do some swatching of inks. And then we started talking about the Scriven Pen Show ink and all sorts of inks, all sorts of different kinds of inks and colors and nibs and things like that. And then we started talking about traveling, like trying to get to pen shows. Now that you've been to the Chicago Pen Show, what's next? Yes, that's why I'm glad that I have you in this amazing Cool Kids Club. Yeah. I wouldn't be in the right place if it wasn't for this community and the hobby. Paw Pal Gal, that's exactly it. You said it. Joy is resistance. Yes, exactly. You can't let anyone take the joy, right? at the end of the day, that's what powers us. That's what drives us, is joy and happiness and looking out for each other and making sure that we all enjoy, that we all, we all connect on that. So you being here, is, like this is what we do here, right? Like when we hang out on streams and stuff, and we're in the chat and we're just hanging out. That's what we're doing, is we're connecting. We're, propping each other up. Yeah, the pens and inks are wonderful, but the people are what keeps me here, for sure. Fountain pen news, I agree. I'm going to Winnipeg tomorrow to support some Winnipeg small businesses. Oh, awesome, Bailey. And treat yourself to some fun stuff. You should. You should. Yeah, check out Wendy Sue. I know. Wendy Sue fell off a cliff while hiking and discovered the community during my recovery. It's so nice that you did that, and I'm so glad that you were able to find something during your recovery that like brought you joy, right? Because that's a hard time. Some of the best people. Oh, amazing. I'm hoping I can try some Sydney lavender at some point. Yes, I know. Sydney lavender is so nice. And I have a sample of that. And I feel like it's such a nice color. Like that especially could be one of those colors that, like if you're into dark purple shades, it's so dark that it doesn't come across as like purpley. But it is. It's so nice. Lampwork maroon. I know, Bailey, I'm trying to find an alternative that's very close to this shade because it is kind of unique. It's not too red. It's not too burgundy-ish. But it's like, if I can find something that's similar to that, or I can just buy that ink, then I'll be happy. Yeah, you literally fell into it. I know, fountain pen news. I laugh every time you say you fell off the cliff, and it's not funny because nothing about it is funny, but it is kind of funny. I'm not glad you fell off a cliff, but I am glad you fell into this hobby. I would love to know too. Yeah, so far nothing on my end either, but I'll ask all of Octopus Ink. I haven't put out the ask to, for anyone to come up with an alternative, but I will, and I feel like I will own it. I will own at least something that's similar to that color because it is such a pretty color. My entry point was the pandemic. I started listening to the Pandemic podcast so I could get to sleep. I feel like, yeah, you know what? I could see that. Yeah. The pandemic for sure. 2020 is when I probably really got into fountain pens. I owned a couple of fountain pens before that. So like 2012-ish is when I bought like my first couple of fountain pens for myself. Like I had used fountain pens before that. But 2020 is when I like really fell into it. And I think a lot of people did because obviously we all had the time. We're all stuck at home. So finding like online resources. And I think I found planners like Hobonichi, Japanese planners at the same time, because I was looking for fountain pen inks and also fountain pen friendly paper. Before that, I was using like Rhodia, and I think I had a Midori notebook. And I also had a traveler's notebook, the passport size. So I had like 3 things. And then in 2020, I started really looking into like stationery, Japanese stationery, fine writing tools and accessories. And yeah, I think I found the Pen Addict around the same time as well. So that's kind of funny. And then probably in 2022 started watching the Twitch streams because I was like, Twitch, you know, they actually stream like other than gaming stuff. And sure enough, found, you know, Brad and his streams on Twitch and got to know chat, right? Hi, Tuli. How's it going? Yes, and working lurkers. Hello to everyone. So yeah, that was kind of my time as well to find all of the stationary community things. Yeah, fountain pen use, you learned a lot from the experience, like not to fall off a cliff. I need help with inks for these two pens. Yes. The amethyst, I feel like probably has quite a few choices you could go with. And did you say you got the gold trim? Or rose gold, right? So yeah, I feel like there could be a few options there. Planners really helped me after the 2016. Yeah, for sure. Planners and notebooks. Oh yes, Julia did matches for the amethyst. I think actually after seeing Julia's post, I was like, I really want the amethyst. Let's see. Oh, so pretty. Yeah, these are some nice ink matches. Sidewalk gum. Yeah. Those are some good options. Yeah, I love checking out Julia's matches too. I know. And the way that she does them are so like aesthetically pleasing. Right? And I'm always like, ooh, if I had this pen, which one would I choose? Also discovering Mountain of Ink swatch palette page. Yeah. I think Mountain of Ink on Instagram too. I think I was posting some swatches or palettes. And the vintage Pelikan M600 with no oblique broad flexi note. Yeah. Oh, you got the same but an M nib inky. That's awesome. Actually, I guess I was always a planner girly, but nobody wanted to hear me. Oh, in 2005, yeah, by applicator. I think at that time was probably like more into like scrapbooking and stuff than like I've always been into planners as well, but yeah, I don't think I didn't share like planner layouts and things like that until probably 2020. Because then I found, right, like in my searches for things, I found planner groups on Facebook and planner groups on, or like, you know, planner communities on Instagram. And I was like, oh, people actually share like their spreads, planner spreads. It's a thing. And so I think that's probably when I sort of started to like share my own, you know, spreads and how I was using my planners. And kind of connected with people that way. And I think Karina, we probably connected on planners at first and then probably pens after that. Gourmet Pens Ice Fog. Hi, Mrs. G's. Are you back from your trip? Oh, bye, Apple Tater. Bye. Have a good one. And see you next time. Appreciate you being here. I'm glad you joined and followed. Even though you've been here. I have no help. I don't have the pen. Yeah. I wish we had that pen, Bailey. The Pelikan is from pre-1990s because it says West Germany. Yeah. That's a good find. You said you got it at a deal too? Or the amethyst you got at a deal. But still. Yeah, I love vintage. I love vintage pens, and I love pens who sort of have that history where like it has a story attached to it too, right? Oh, you are. Oh. Well, I'm glad that, or I hope that you had an amazing time in Italy, Mrs. G's. And welcome back onto this side. I might need another Leonardo. No, don't say that, Bailey. I'm loving the one I got from the Experience Pen Sale. Yes, I know. I saw you on, cheering you on in the YouTube chat. How are you liking it? Like, what have you inked it up with? You obviously love it if you think you need another one, which, like, yeah, we do. You got them both for great prices. That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like Leonardo is one of those pens that, one of those brands that I can't go down the collection rabbit hole because I will own all of them. They are just so pretty. You didn't have to tune it or anything? Ah, that's awesome. That's always a good sort of, like, you got a deal for it and it writes fine, which I feel like Leonardo's, I don't know why it was returned to Atlas, but I feel like Leonardo's should write really well. You put Gourmet Pen Saskatoon Berry Pie. Bright pink and a black pen? Yes. 100%. That is such a good combo. I feel like magenta pink shades in a black pen is so good. Like, so good. I own 5 and I love them. You have 2 broads, 2 1.5 stubs. Whoa. And a medium. Yeah. I did like the broad nib on my Leonardo for sure. I'd love the nibs and flourishes one. Yeah. The Aster is really, really nice. If you can make the next restock, did it sell out really quickly? Yeah, you might have to get on that. It did, yeah. I know. It's so pretty. The cap band is amazing. The whole design of it, right? Like under 10 minutes? Wow. That's amazing. That's really awesome. But yeah, the design, there was so much thought put into it. It was so pretty, for sure. I love how it all came together. It looked really, really good. I love their piston. Yeah, I don't have a... Maybe I do need another Leonardo. I don't have their piston pen. On the Magico, yeah. And the Grande. Yeah, hopefully... hopefully it falls out of place I get jump on. You can just sort of grab yours. Yeah, I haven't heard about a restock either, but... Oh, the one I have is the MZ. So it has a cartridge converter. But I like the Momento Zero. It's really, really nice. The size of it too is like perfect for me, for my writing. I got a broad nib with it too, and I think if I was going to get another one, I think I would stick with the broad nib because it was really nice and like it was a nice broad, very juicy. Talking about nibs. Yeah, the MZ converter. Are screwed with love. Yeah. I'm thinking of Pennonia Scriptus ink from last year in my Pelikan. What was the Scriptus 2024 ink? Mm-hmm. Oh, Niagara Peach. Yes. Was that the one? Oh, I remember that. Oh, so pretty. Yeah, it's Niagara Peach. Yeah, okay. Oh, so that's the one that Brad was throwing shade on, but actually it's a really nice shade. Yours is a Magico. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, they haven't announced a restock date, but when they do, I feel like Bailey. I feel like you're gonna jump on that. Nice. That's very, very pretty. That's a good ink combo too, because it brings out that blue in the body. Emma sent an email yesterday that they're restocking Oster and asking folks to put on a wish list. Oh, to help figure out the demand. Oh, wow. Lots of demand. High demand. Yeah, definitely do that, because then they'll know, they'll have an idea of how many they'll need to restock. Yeah. Yeah, Niagara Beach is nice. It's a really pretty shade. If it falls around your payday, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, you did add yours. That's good. Yeah. Even just to get a sense of like interest. That's a good thing. What color is your Pelikan fountain pen use? Did you tell us? I missed the first part of the convo. What company are we talking about? Are we talking about Leonardo? Oh, the Leonardo Nibs and Flourishes Aster pen. Black and gold. Ah, yes. Because that gold will bring out the nice shade in Niagara Peach. Yeah, gourmet pens. Definitely Niagara-y. Oh, that's awesome. Ooh. Very, very nice. Yeah, that gold would look really good with that. Yeah, no problem. Oh, have a good one, Chrissy. Yeah, I'm glad you had the day off too to hang out. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next time. Enjoy your weekend. I asked Walton about doing a daisy flower pen. I'll give it a shot. Oh, that sounds really nice. With the oblique, broad, and flex, I want something with a lot of character. Yeah, fountain pen use. I was gonna say, with that kind of nib, it can handle, it can handle the inks with more characteristics. And not only that, but it'll show it off, right? You want something that can show off the characteristics based on this flower. Oh, that's so pretty. Lemon Symphony. Oh, that's so pretty. I love the purple. Like just the little bit of purple. Lemon yellow daisy flowers adorned with a deep purple eye. That's so cool. That's very cool. Oh, they're your favorite. They're really, really pretty. And that color combination, for sure, I feel would be really nice. But what would you ink it with? Would you go with like a purple or... Now we're just talking about pens we don't have. What we're gonna ink with our fantasy pens. That would be a nice color combo for a pen though. Purple or orange. Yeah. The bud of the flower has some orange in it. Yeah, I think it would bring out, especially if most of the pen was the yellow, because that's like the predominant color of that daisy. Then if you had a little bit of orange and purple in it, you can pick out each of those. But orange would be nice. Do some fire on fire in there. Or a broader nib and then take it up a notch to fire on fire on fire. And really show those characteristics. Yeah. Fire times 3. Really set that pen on fire. That would be so nice. For sure. Well, it is time for me to go make lunch. It's time for me to go eat. But thank you for hanging out and watching me swatch all my currently inked pens. I mentioned this before. Yeah, go eat, right? I mentioned this before, but I like to document currently inked pens because then I can I have like an overview of what inks I picked in that month. And it's just sometimes it's revealing because I kind of look at it and think, oh, I've sort of moved away from like orangey inks and I feel like I need to bring them back because I haven't really inked up an orange ink in a while. And also like the yellow, I love brown yellows or yellow browns because they're legible. So I kind of feel like I want to bring that back too. And then I have a lot of like greens and blues, right? And then I'm sort of into like earthy, more neutral shades as well. And so it's kind of interesting in the way that I think helps me plan for next month, like for June, what inks I'm going to pull out of my drawers and what sample inks I might want to use. And I find that this is like part of the fun of it is like planning, what I'm going to ink up next. And depending on the nibs that I'm going to use as well, kind of like what fountain pen you said, like depending on your nib, you may be able to use inks that have more characteristics and more personality and things that will sort of like you can show them off with broader nibs. And I think I'm going to try and find the right combination of ink and nib. Just based on, what I've inked up so far and what I want to ink up for next month. Just play around a little bit. Maybe have some more brighter colors for June. Though I am loving these inks and I'm glad that, some of these like, the pink is sort of out of my comfort zone a little bit. I don't write with pink and red, really. I use them more for painting and for drawing. So inking them up in a fountain pen is like, it puts me a little bit out of my usual of what I do. And it just makes it a little bit more fun that way, right? Yeah, honeycomb color. Yes. Dancing Leaves, one of my favorite yellowish brown honeycomb colors is Robert Oster Honeybee. It is such a nice color. And it's like that legible yellow, like a, you know, a great sort of caramelly yellow. It's really, really pretty. And then Amarillo Stationery also has Toasty Joggers, which is another sort of that same honeycomb kind of feel to it. But also easy to read, which like I feel like you need, right? I took a screenshot of that so I can read it later. Yeah, let me know what you think, Bailey. Orange would be great for the summer. Exactly, right? Like I feel like moving into June, July, August, I need to sort of look into the colors and bring them out a little bit more. It kind of makes it fun too when you're swatching and doing currently inked. Yeah, thanks for joining, Papa Gal. I'm so glad you were able to join. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next stream next week. Probably Wednesday, but yes, that one. You need to check out FTP Autumn in Auburn. Yes, do I have that? I have a lot of Ferris wheel brass inks. I might have that. I have to look. I don't know. You really want Toasty Joggers. It's a nice ink, for sure. It's a nice ink. So thank you so much for joining. Before I go, I do have to mention Atlas Stationers is doing a Memorial Day sale. So if you are into, you know, if you need to sort of find inks or anything on sale, right? I don't know how much more they can do a sale. To be honest, because Atlas Stationers is one of many retailers that have had to increase their prices on certain things, certain products, especially depending on where they're coming from. And they did want to run the sale. So if you want to pick something up that may cost more later on, hopefully this helps. You can use my code as well. That's my affiliate link. You can use my code Corolla10. It has been up to 15% off for the weekend, for the long weekend. So yeah, if there's any inks or anything you want to pick up, hopefully that helps. And I also appreciate the support. You can use any affiliate link, any affiliate code, but you know, if you can support creators in the community, it's always appreciated, right? You can match the discount and your favorite creators. Yeah, exactly, right? And then Fountain Pen News knows we can use that credit to you know, buy more things, buy more stationery so that we could share them, right? That's how I was able to get these pocket pens. And so I can create content around that and answer questions and, you know, show people how it is to use these types of products. What are some positives and negatives and things like that. So yeah, we're all here for each other, right? I feel like we're all here to support each other, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you friends for being here, for watching the replay, for lurking, for you know, just for supporting everyone. So take care, be safe, and yeah, I'll see you in the next stream. Go play with your stationery for sure. Okay, bye. Have a good one. Have a good weekend.